on these older fireworks from the early 2000s. At the time, and I even remember this from childhood, they weren't using the fuse protectors that we have today. It was kind of just this little tube, and then your fuse would just come out like that. On some of the more modern day fireworks, this is what the fuse protector would have looked like. You peel that off, and it does something like this. Vintage fireworks, just take a look at these things. Also, when was the last time you saw this red cellophane top? That was back in the day when they made the good stuff.
The fact that these things are still working is incredible.
When I was around 12 years old, I visited Star Fireworks for the very first time with my dad. As you can probably imagine, growing up in Minnesota where fireworks that go up in the air are banned, my first time into Star Fireworks was definitely something I will never forget. Seeing all the crazy fireworks that go up in the air was something really special to me. And it's at this very store that I met Dino, and he was working at Star Fireworks at the time. I believe he runs his very own fireworks store now out in Wisconsin. I've been meaning to get out to that store, I just haven't had a chance to yet, but one day I will be visiting his store. Anyway, Dino is a guy that I've known since I was a kid, and I still talk to him to this day, and I'm almost 30 years old. I'd consider Dino as one of the OG pyros. Dino was one of the first people to give me advice on fireworks and kind of learn how to get into this industry. He is also the reason that I've gotten to do as many firework displays as I have today. So I've got something really special for you guys and Dino as well. I found this little gem of a firework assortment somewhere in the middle of South Dakota, and I'm sure Dino and all the guys at Star thought this was long gone and extinct from the firework market, but guess what? I found it. So this firework assortment right here features items from the early 2000s. This is right around the time that I started getting involved with the larger types of fireworks, and so this very assortment could have been sitting on the shelf when I was in that store for the first time all those years ago. I seriously cannot believe I was able to find this thing, so let's take a look at it. All right, so as you can see, Dino's Party by Wise Guy brand. Now, don't pay any attention to that price sticker on there of $240. Back in the early 2000s, there's no way that this assortment was retailing for that. So this price right here, $240, is actually what I paid for it in South Dakota. And what I think happened here is probably many, many years ago, this company maybe attended the Star Fireworks demo, right? And they were trying to get rid of the remaining assortments like this one here. Now, I just have to assume that because they no longer sell this at Star Fireworks, that it probably didn't sell very well, which is very surprising to me because Winda Fireworks, there's a lot of that in here. In fact, every firework in here is made by Winda, and they are a pretty consistently good brand. So back in the day, I'm sure this firework assortment right here could be purchased at Star Fireworks for somewhere right around $100, maybe even less at that time. Again, we're talking about early 2000s. This is before all the inflation, before all the craziness in the firework industry. For those of you who don't know, this guy right here on the beach, that's Dino. But is he actually a pyro? Well, I can't confirm this with certainty, but I have a feeling that Dino handpicked all the items that went into this assortment, thus it being called Dino's Party. So today what we're gonna do is unbox the assortment and light everything off. We're gonna rate these fireworks. All right, I really hate to cut into this thing. It's like I'm destroying history. I am gonna keep this box though, it's really cool. And I can't believe, like I said, I was able to find this. When I was at that fireworks store in South Dakota, right? I was going up and down the aisles and I saw this up here, the Dino's Party, and I thought, okay, Dino Party, something like that. But then I looked a little closer, I'm like, no way is that Dino from Star Fireworks, and sure enough it is, and it's even by Wise Guy brand, which, as you know, is the Star Fireworks in-house brand. So this is what you can expect on the inside. I mean, it was a clear wrap, so you probably already saw everything that's in here. Super Bombs artillery shell by Winda, and really this is the only thing I wanted to show you up close. Take a look at these vintage artillery shells. I have a feeling that these are going to perform way better than the ones we find on the market today. Vintage fireworks, just take a look at these things and just look at how faded the wrap on these shells is. Like this one here would have been yellow. You can see it's a little bit more yellow on this side, but just look at the fading going on there. It's incredible. I really hate to light this stuff off because, as you know, I am also a firework collector. Really, I'd love to add these items to the collection, but I think we're gonna have more fun lighting it off. Now, we're gonna give that a squeeze, and as you can see, that one there is real at least. Let's squeeze this one. Yep, so Dino was at least smart enough to put real ball shells in his assortment. You can tell the fake ones by pushing on the ball part here. And if it gives in, so if you can create a dent, that means it's not a real ball shell, it's a mini canister. All right, so those are the Super Bombs by Winda. This is probably the only box left of these in the world. Hate to light them, but we're gonna do it. All right, we got Strongman and Metallic Crocodile. Both of these fireworks here still exist, but this would have been like the first rendition of them right here. We've got Angel Rising, the Giant Octopus, a 10-shot. This one I have seen before, but not the original. Also, when was the last time you saw this red cellophane top? That was back in the day when they made the good stuff, which, as you can see, red cellophane top there. This is some OG stuff, guys. Great Expectations, they still make this one as well, the triangle cake. It's a 9-shotter. This right here would have been the original. Endless Quest, 16-shot, 200 gram. These are all 200 or 350 gram cakes. We've got the Sexy Sisters here. We have the Hard Cobra, a smaller 16-shot, Future Guy, Freezing Ray, and we do get another Hard Cobra, so it's interesting you get 2 of those. Kind of another interesting point on these older fireworks from the early 2000s. At the time, and I even remember this from childhood, they weren't using the fuse protectors that we have today. It was kind of just this little tube, and then your fuse would just come out like that. On some of the more modern day fireworks, this is what the fuse protector would have looked like. You peel that off, and it does something like this. I might actually keep one of these for the collection. In fact, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. This one here looks to be in better shape than this one. So this one's going in the collection, and we're gonna be lighting off everything else. So just how old are the fireworks inside Dino's party? If I had to guess, somewhere between 15 and 20 years old. I definitely do not think they are any older than that. In fact, they could be like 12 years old. I might have this all wrong. But either way, I did want to bring this up because since we're going to be testing some older fireworks, there is also a chance that they don't work anymore. Who knows in the past 15, 20 years if this thing got rained on, if there was any moisture, or if it was stored the wrong way when it was transported to the new store where I feel like it's been sitting for a while. Who knows where this thing has been in between all of that, so I'm really hoping the fireworks still work. They do look like they're in great condition. This is Dino's Party, Wise Guy brand, kind of a cool thing on there. Best selection, most valuable. I wonder if John is watching this video. John from Star, are you watching? Did you write this? Did you come up with this? Also, how'd you get Dino on there? What'd you do? Who knows? All right, let's see if Dino knows fireworks. I've got the ball shells over here and 2 tubes to shoot them out of, and all the smaller cakes here. I think we're gonna finish with the shells. All right, so remember, these fireworks are from the early 2000s. They may or may not work. Let's start with Great Expectations. This is what I have for this assortment. So far, really nice. Maybe Dino is a real pyro. Next one up is Hard Cobra. Fireworks were built different in the early 2000s. Next one up is Future Guy. They definitely don't make them like this anymore. Look at how far those go. Freezing Ray. So far, really impressed with these. All right, this one here is the first cylindrical cake, Angel Rising. Man, look at these brakes. The fact that these things are still working is incredible. Wow. Giant Octopus with the red cellophane. piss off your neighbors, this is one way to do it. And Strongman, one of Winda's most famous 200-gram cakes.
But it's performing better than ever. Listen to that crackle too.
Really just don't make them like that anymore. Metallic crocodile. This is also a popular one, still in assortments today. All right, these are the largest in the pack. This one here is Endless Quest. It's like a blast from the past. And lastly, for the cakes, this is Sexy Sisters. All right, now moving on to the Super Bomb shells. We got the red one and the blue one. I'm super excited to see how these perform. Well, they're real ball shells. That's a good sign. Here goes the blue one. Orange one. This is the yellow one. And lastly, we have the light blue and dark blue. I'm gonna try to do both of these at once. Nice. Wow. Well, that's an example of what fireworks used to look like when I was younger. And obviously Dino is a real pyro after all.